404 Boxing. Hey, I just saw a Blue Blood video about Keith Thurman talking about fighting Yordenis Ugas. Went on World Boxing News and actually read the article at Yes Indeed. That is the talk coming out of Thurman. He actually mentioned Charlo. He mentioned a couple other names that didn't make sense. But basically, Ugas being the WBA regular champ makes the most sense. And with that said, I think it's a great fight. Of course, the fight's not made, so I'm not going to talk about who I picked to win. But I will say that when you think about it, both guys fought Sean Porter to close fights. Thurman got the decision over Porter. Ugas didn't get the decision over Porter. But for my liking, I had Ugas beating Porter more convincingly than Thurman, although Thurman got the decision. But that really has no bearing over how the two would match up against one another. But I will say I think it will make a good style matchup and an intriguing matchup, something I would look forward to seeing. We got Keith Thurman coming off of his loss to Manny Pacquiao, and he hasn't fought since. It was a majority decision or split decision, however it was. I don't know if one of the judges had it a draw and the other two had it for Pacquiao, or it was one from Thurman and the other two for Pacquiao. But however it was a close decision. We got Ugas coming off of a win where he picked up the WBA regular title. He's not happy with just being the regular champion. He wants to be, recognized as a legitimate champion, and as well as one of the top welterweights in the division. And being a two-time or former Unified Champion in Keith Thurman will go a long way toward staking that claim and making him be recognized as one of the top welterweights in the division. I personally already feel like, he's top 5. But that said, beating Thurman definitely solidifies that. But, beating Thurman and fighting Keith Thurman are two different things, and talking about fighting Keith Thurman are two different things. Same thing goes with Thurman with Ugas. These guys can talk on the internet all day about wanting to fight one another, but until it comes to fruition, it's hard to get behind a lot of these fights, because we've heard guys talk about fighting each other for 2-3 years, especially in the welterweight division, and the fight's not come to fruition. We heard guys talk about fighting each other in one weight class, then move up to the next weight class, and they're still talking about fighting each other, and the fights still aren't happening. But I hope this one is one that does get off and does happen. It makes perfect sense, especially when you look at the WBA picture, but it makes perfect sense for other reasons as well. I'm hopeful that the fight happens. I do think that it could do great viewership. I think that it would go a long way toward helping whoever wins the fight work their way into a title shot, whether that be with the WBA or whether that be versus Errol Spence Jr. for one of the belts he carries, or Terrence Crawford, one of the belts he carries, or whoever, because those guys have fights, and there's no guarantee that they'll have their titles once Thurman and Ugas fight. Should the fight happen, those guys could be rematching, trying to get their titles back, or who knows. It remains to be seen. This is boxing, so there's no guarantees when it comes to boxing. But I do expect Bud and Spence to both still be champions. Should this fight happen between Thurman and Ugas, I expect them to be looking up at Errol Spence Jr., looking up at Manny Pacquiao, looking up at Bud Crawford as the guys who sit atop the division just as they do right now. But that's all I got to say on the subject. D-Lo 404 Box, come out.